So what we'd like to do before we start answering your questions is give all of our chairs a moment to just kind of fill you in on what's been going on and as best as they can, and just kind of reassure you as much as they can as to what's been going on. Okay, so we'll kind of go alphabetically, and we will start with Professor Marcus Civin. So Marcus, would you like to take the floor, such as it is?
Sure, sounds good. Hi everybody. It looks like there are about 81 attendees, so it's great that it's a large group out there. As we said before, I'm the chair of the Department of Art, and I really miss seeing you and your artwork in person. Please email me if you'd like to get in touch. My email is marcus.civin@unlv.edu, and I really look forward to learning more about what you've been making, writing, and doing. Please don't hesitate to send me any snapshots or updates if you have time. I've been particularly impressed from what I've seen of how many students and faculty have addressed their work to social justice this spring and summer. And in response, the Department of Art and the Donna Beam Gallery are hosting a call for entries for a virtual exhibition titled #Justice. And submissions are open now until September 1st for anyone who wants to enter. Information is up on our webpage, unlv.edu/art. And you can also follow the Department of Art on Instagram or on Facebook for updates. And I hope lots of students from all the disciplines submit. I want to underscore by way of introduction that diversity is a top priority in the Department of Art, and the Department of Art is here to amplify your ideas and artwork. If you have any ideas for exhibitions or virtual exhibitions, programs or virtual programs, please let me know. And I wanted to let you know as well that over the summer, your faculty have been talking informally, and we'll talk more formally in the fall about bringing more diverse examples of artists and designers into the classroom and into our teaching. And also in the fall, we'll begin to discuss some possible proposals for new courses reflecting current thinking and current events. I want to underscore as well that safety is a top priority in the Department of Art. I sent a message out to all students who are enrolled in art, design, and art history classes last week, detailing the many precautions and measures that the department is taking for safety. Please refer to that message or let me know if you didn't receive it. You can also don't hesitate to contact your instructors. You can find their emails in the UNLV Art Directory, which is at unlv.edu/art/directory. They'll be contacting you with updates if they haven't already. I know at least a couple went out today, but don't hesitate to contact them. So Julie, I think that's probably my 2 minutes. I have answers to more specific questions, but maybe we'll get to those later.
Great. Thank you so much, Marcus. And next, we'd like to hear from Professor Genova, who is the Director of, is that correct, Michael? Director or Chair of Entertainment Engineering?
Yeah, Program Director of Entertainment Engineering.
Thank you.
I would like to just say that the Entertainment Engineering and Design program, our paramount concern is the health and well-being of all the students and staff. My primary concern this summer has been really kind of reining in how the lab spaces for EED are used. So looking at what it would take to actually get students to work in the spaces, to have adequate social distancing, and what kind of PPE would be used. So I do have I've developed a plan for how many students can be allowed in the spaces. It will be students will have to sign up for lab time. And that's probably the biggest change that's happening with the program. That's just because we want to control those spaces as best as possible, make sure that there's a sanitary environment for people to go into, and that everybody maintains health and well-being. So for the most part, almost all of the EED classes will be taught remotely, with the exception of lab work, where students can come in, they can grab lab supplies, they can grab materials, and they can use the labs. That's really the biggest change. We're still maintaining the quality of the education. We're still maintaining the rigor of all the classes, but really the focus is keeping everybody safe. So. Julie, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And next up, we have Dr. Heather Addison, who is the chair of our film program.
Hello, everyone. Okay. Greetings from UNLV Film. We're only a few weeks away from fall 2020, and as you've heard, UNLV is planning to reopen for both remote and some in-person instruction, with social distancing, mask wearing, and other hygiene measures in place to protect the health and safety of students and staff. So what does this mean for your film classes? Based on the preferences of our instructors and our ability to accommodate classes in rooms that will allow for safe distancing, we have a fall 2020 schedule that, like the university as a whole, includes both remote and in-person classes. Courses that are scheduled in person may include a mix of remote and in-person meetings at the discretion of your instructors. Thus, it will be important to check with your instructors to get the details of their course plans. For example, I'm teaching Film 497 horror films on Monday afternoons. I will have in-person screenings in UNLV's beautiful new Dolby Atmos Theater in FDH 109, but I will also offer the option of streaming the films remotely for students who do not wish to come to campus. Lectures and discussions will be online. So Film 497 is an example of a film studies course, not a hands-on production course, so it may be a bit easier to present remotely. We are planning to have our production-oriented courses largely in person. You will be able to use and check out equipment and to work on group projects with COVID-19 safety measures in place. Our most important principle is that the health and safety of students and staff come first. If you have an in-person course but cannot or do not feel comfortable coming to campus, we will make the course materials accessible remotely. In addition to this college town hall, the Department of Film is having a town hall next Wednesday at 1 p.m. when we can answer your specific questions about film classes and our planning. Check your UNLV email for the meeting link. We look forward to welcoming you back to UNLV very soon, either in person or virtually. We'll be together in spirit, no matter what the pandemic brings. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Addison. And last but not least for this moment, I'd like to introduce Stacy Shapin, who is the Director of Advising. Stacy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I just wanted to give you a quick few bits of information about advising. Advising is going to remain remote for the fall semester. So just as we have been now, we will continue through the fall semester. You can have appointments with your advisor virtually through WebEx, on the phone, or via email. We are looking at adopting some new virtual drop-in advising, and I am hoping to resume that in the near future. We are working on getting that technology in place, so stay tuned for that. I will be typing into the chat our website that you can go to set up an appointment with an advisor or to check on hours or more information there. So you'll be able to do that. You can either schedule an appointment through Campus Connect on My UNLV or by contacting our front desk. Again, that contact information is all located in our website, so you can go there and get that information. Additionally, some other news that you need to be aware of. We are going to be relocating to the FDH building, the Flora Dungan Humanities building on the 6th floor. So we will be joining the dean's staff on the 6th floor of FDH when we return to campus in the spring. So if you're a continuing student, please do not go to the Central Desert Complex anymore to see us. We are not located there any longer. We're remote for the fall, and then we will be in FDH for the spring. Finally, I just want to let everybody know that right now, in the interest of time, we are only going to be focusing on questions that are specific to fine arts. If you have general university policy questions, I'm going to refer you to the town hall that happened yesterday for university-wide information. I will be posting that link in the chat as well, or you can contact your advisor for more specific information about that if we don't get your question answered through that town hall. And I will turn that back over to Julie. Thanks, everybody.
Great. Thank you so much, Stacy. Professor Mueller, I'm so sorry. You disappeared off my screen there for a minute. The director of the School of Music, Professor Susan Mueller, is
Tell me, I
here.
would have just jumped in anyway. Right? Well, welcome new students and welcome returning students. One of the most exciting days in the beginning of a semester is when we're all trying to scramble and find our classrooms and find our friends, get the lockers, all of that kind of stuff. And it's not going to look like that this year. And I'm sad to say that because it is exciting when we all get together. It's like a family reunion. So as you well know, just because you are or have already signed up for your classes, all of the ensembles will be meeting remotely. No, not in an easy way, and you won't be able to play together like you're used to, but it is impossible to mitigate safety, and so we had to make that decision. Even in our large rooms, putting 50 to 60 people together with various instruments and stands, it just would not work. We have been in contact with the provost and the epidemiologists for the governor and for Las Vegas and for UNLV, Brian Labus, and he concurs with that decision. So it is really hard to swallow that, but they are putting together some very exciting projects, and I think you'll be very engaged, and we'll return as soon as we can. Most of our applied lessons as well are going to be held remotely. However, I am looking at scheduling about 3 to 4 times a semester in a very large room with just a student and their instructor so that we can mitigate safety, et cetera, because as you know, each instrument voice has its own ways of dealing with all of the stuff that is produced when you play your instrument. We, of course, are following the same thing everybody else is doing, social distancing. We're trying to, and wearing masks, obviously. And so our practice rooms was the other part that was really difficult to decide on. Out of about 28 practice rooms, we did not see how we could possibly mitigate safety and health by turning those over every hour to another student. So we're assigning practice rooms, and we're going to assign it on a need base. Some people are piano majors and don't have a piano at home. And some people can't play their instrument in their house or their apartment building or whatever. So we are working to identify those students so that we can assign a practice room to them and make available the necessary things for their instrument, for their tool, if you will. We're evaluating recitals, and especially the culminating experience recitals, junior, senior recital, master's, DMA. And so we're trying to work with your teachers and you and the accompanists and make that safe. Safety is our highest priority, not only for you, but for our instructors as well. And we have very many of them. So we ask that you just weather this with us together. Ask us any questions at any time. My associate directors, Bill Bernatus and David Weiler, are also available to help you navigate this new semester, and we'll navigate it together. I welcome you.
Thank you so much, Sue. We have had some of our other chairs join us. So next up, we have the interim chair of architecture, which is Danny Ortega. Danny, if you would like
Thank you,
to
Julie.
say a few words.
I will. Thank you. I apologize for chiming in a little late. Technology, as always, when you really, really want it to work, decides to be fickle at times. So I'm here now. As my colleagues have already stated, welcome back, everyone. I think you're all probably getting a little bit tired of hearing us say that we all wish we could be in person. We do, and things are going to be different, but we are going to get through this together. It is going to take a collaborative effort. On the School of Architecture's behalf, our teaching, with the exception of one course, is all remote for the fall. So we will not have as many of the sort of complicated processes involved in terms of social distancing within classrooms and buildings during class, et cetera. The only course that is remaining in person at this time is Professor Eric Strain's course on special electives, special topics in architecture. That's available to undergraduates and graduates. So there's a $495 and a $695 component to that. I just found out today from Dr. White, all of her 201 discussion courses. She has worked really, really hard with the college's technology specialist, Dr. Yvonne Yui, and they have decided together that it is probably best to move courses online as well. And those are really high impact courses. A lot of students registered in those courses. So that's a recent update. We just found that out about maybe 30 minutes before the meeting started. So please check your My UNLV frequently, as you'll see that change to remote learning within the next couple of days, hopefully. Some of the general questions that we received prior to this meeting, some information people wanted about the School of Architecture. As of last week, there were still vacancies in our fourth year studio, where I'm proud to say that we've, Professor Oakley and I worked really, really hard to find qualified instructors to teach those courses. So one section, I am not sure the exact alignment yet. So, I apologize. I should have before this, and I didn't. I was just excited to have good faculty. We have Dr. Kavouras on duty, who's going to teach one section. Kavouras is coming off of a 5-year appointment in Helsinki, Finland, and an excellent urban designer. He's taught at UNLV in the past. So any students who are in Kavouras' section will get a great education there. And also in the second section, we have Dwayne Eschenbaugh, who's past president of Nevada American Institute of Architects. Very good architect, very good supporter of the school, longtime friend of the school. So we're excited to have Dwayne join us in the teaching rotation. There's also been a lot of questions as to the availability. Architecture is a very hands-on discipline, as are all of the disciplines within the College of Fine Arts. And some of the questions we've been getting are with respect to model building. The model shop, both the digital and the analog fabrication labs, will be open on a limited basis. I have a proposal from Kyle on how he would like to staff the labs and the hours. I have to approve that, but it looks primarily like digital applications will be available every day in the morning for a window, I believe something like 8 to 11. Don't quote me. We'll put the final schedule up on our Facebook page, up on our website as soon as we have it. And the digital files will all be ran through WebEx. You'll submit your digital files to Kyle. He and his student workers will then run the processes through whatever machine it is you're asking for the digital file to work, whether it be laser cutter or CNC, et cetera. And then they will arrange a pickup time with you individually. So we're trying to go with a no contact, very low participation in the labs. Long story short, they will open on a limited basis. Some of the other questions we've been getting are, can students substitute architecture internships, architecture competitions for internship? The 3 different disciplines have different internship requirements. So if you're an architecture major and you're curious about doing a competition in place of an internship, because internships, we'll be honest, are becoming much harder to find with the economy right now, you would have to talk to Professor Glenn Nowak. He's in charge of the architecture intern program. It's a very sort of specific program in architecture. I would not want to give you bad advice. So please contact Professor Nowak. One of the other questions that we had was in relation to basically how is studio going to work in a virtual environment. Still trying to figure it out. I know that the sort of culture of studio is one that relies not only on the person-to-person critique and feedback, group critiques and feedback, during pinups, but also the social aspect of the studio, where I think you hear your faculty members learn just as much from each other as you from us in a studio context. Unfortunately, the traditional studio context is not going to be that we can pursue right now. However, I'll tell you from experience, when we had to make the switch to virtual teaching last spring, the architecture, the students ended up the online version because we could all be in one gallery together. They could see everybody's work during desk crits as opposed to me going desk to desk. And then I opened up the whiteboard for everybody to have the opportunity to kind of give graphic feedback, and ended up working really well. Obviously, the social part of being there one-on-one, not so, not the same online, but I think it's going to work well. And I also think that we've had a little bit of time to figure this out, instead of just being thrown into it for spring break. So I am excited to see what your professors have coming towards you. I know I went
Danny?
over a little bit, but we're excited. Thank you for coming back. We will also have our own all-school meeting on August 25th at 1 p.m.
Danny, thank you for all of that information, and we'll have more questions when we get finished having everybody speak, and you'll have the opportunity to provide more information. Thank you very much for that answer, however. Next up, we have our chair of dance, Professor Louis Kavouras. Louis?
Hi, everybody. Hope you can hear me. Sorry I was a little bit late. I'm actually teaching. I'm at Caesar's Palace, which is kind of great to be down here on the strip. Teaching, usually I teach about 100 teachers how to teach dance and teach. I taught a core class today. It actually streamed live, and what was kind of exciting for me about it is about 500 people could watch it. So across the country without having to come all of the way to Las Vegas. So I missed the interaction, but also I'm always astounded by how we make things work. And this college is an amazing place, so it will be an amazing semester. It will be different, but last time people asked us, what's the dance department going to do? And I said, well, we're just going to keep dancing, and we're just going to dance in different ways. We're going to learn new things, and we're going to make amazing and collaborative work together. So I'm really excited. At this moment, all technique classes are going to be face-to-face. We have some great protocols in place to take care of safety. All of us are going to work together. We're asking students to do things like you should have a yoga mat, so that if you lie on the floor and you breathe on the floor, it's on your yoga mat and you're stretching, and that's also a kind of nice safe space. We'll have tons of sanitizer, tons of spray devices where we can spray things down and wipe them down, and we'll all be part of keeping the studio, which is a kind of temple for us as dancers, in a pristine and safe and wonderful place so that we can move and dance together. So I'm so excited about the semester. I'm excited about what we're going to find in terms of movement and in terms of concerts. Some things are up in the air, some things are going to be virtual, but it's still going to, I think, be amazing. And I'm excited by our season, and you will hear much more about it from me when we do our own face-to-face meetings. So anyways, thank you, and I can't wait to hear your questions.
Thank you so much, Louis. And now officially last but not least, we have our chair of theater, Professor Norma Salazar. Norma?
Well, it's actually Saldivar, but thank you anyway.
I'm so sorry. I do that all the time.
No problem. I totally understand it. So first of all, I'm the one coming up at the very end here, so I want to be brief. First and foremost, I want to reiterate what my colleagues say. We're extremely excited to have you all back. We miss you guys deeply. We've been working all summer long from the time we finished our spring to, we're still working to come up with protocols that will be important for us to all follow as a community. So I gathered together with my colleagues who have classes in HFA. We've been looking at the safety, the envelopes of how to keep you all safe as you come in, take your classes and go out. Theater has about 90 classes. 60% of those will be in person. The rest will be remote. That means that we've been designing the classes so that we have some smaller classes for people to keep safe. We have implemented all kinds of protocols, and we have all kinds of new things that will go into the studios to keep everybody safe. We have masks that people can wear when they're doing vocal work, panels that will protect them and keep them separate, all kinds of interesting things that will be actually reinforcing not only staying safe, but also providing new opportunities for us to learn. So as my colleagues have said, we have gathered together. Each of the studios will be cleaned. We're trying to implement cleaning procedures that happen before and after each class. We have new graduate students who that's part of their job and responsibility. They'll be TAing with faculty. You'll see them around. We have 10 new acting MFAs who will be around serving as assistant teachers and coaches. And so you'll see them partaking and participating, but we're going to need your help as well. And you guys will be part of that process that we'll go through, and we'll all learn new ways of coping within this new world that we're living in. So as I said, about 60% is in person, the 40% is remote. I want to ensure everyone that if they find themselves in a stressful place and need assistance or need to rethink their participation in in-person classes, we're all here as chairs. We're here. The advisors are here as well. And so there are processes that you can go by. And there are already protocols in place for should there be a situation that comes up that we can't handle. But we're ready for you. I know that there was a question regarding auditions for SSA. I want to just alert you all to our website, which is unlv.edu/theater/stage and screen. That will be the place to go and audition and sign up for auditions. The SSA auditions will be happening in the spring this year, mid-semester, as opposed to at the end of the semester. So be prepared. Go look at that website. Again, it's Stage and Screen, theater/stage and screen, and it will give you a lot of the information about signing up. So go there if you can. And I want to just remind you that we have our undergraduate coordinator is also the associate chair. Her name is Shannon Sumter. And if you have questions particularly about the areas, Shannon and I can direct you and help you with theater studies focus, or if you're into design tech, Judy Ryerson, Professor Ryerson is who you would want to contact, and those in performance, Professor Phil Hubbard. So send your questions to them, copy me, we'll try to address them. I want to just be brief because I know that we're running out of time for questions for everybody. So Julie Jetson, back to you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're going to get started on our questions. And our first one is for Dean Uscher. Dean Uscher, how can we ensure that we'll have a safe classroom environment? Some of our studio classes are over 3 hours long. We share lockers and cleaning supplies and chairs and desks. And some of our classrooms aren't big enough to properly socially distance. We don't know where every student and professor goes after class and if they're taking the proper safety precautions. Just wearing face masks doesn't seem safe enough for a lot of our students. So how can we make them feel safe and secure?
I have two answers. Thank you for the thoughtful question. I think this very question's on everyone's mind right now. So thank you so much for giving us a chance to address it. The first answer is going to be a little uncomfortable, and that is there's no university in the United States or the world right now that can guarantee a risk-free experience this fall. But you could say that for any part of life. We don't live risk-free. Having said that, we have put many operational protocols in place to do everything we can to ensure your safety and welfare. You've heard our extraordinary leaders today, each one of whom has really laid out in some detail, and we can, that can also be further explained at another time. Actually the details of how each leader of a unit is going to do everything possible to mitigate risk. We have another wonderful aspect of this answer to this question is the shared responsibility of all of us, perhaps more than in other times in our lives, because the university and our college and our wonderful leadership and panelists today can do everything possible, and yet the responsibility is a shared one, and it really lies with all of us. So I would say to you students, you will have a very special life experience during the next year or so, maybe more than a year, in which we're living with this virus without a vaccine or whatever treatments we feel will be helpful to our society and our world. And that means that we really join together in being mutually responsible for each other. That means, of course, at the very least, mask wearing, social distancing. We are taking a lot of responsibility as a university for cleaning and for making sure that every environment in which you're learning is safe. You've already heard that with the first sign of discomfort, we will accommodate and we will be fluid in making sure that you will have an extraordinary learning experience that may be remote if you choose not to be on campus. But my final remark is, again, reiterating that it also is up to all of us together to do everything we can to have a safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Uscher. Our next question is for Marcus. For art classes that have been converted online, will we still have access to the resources that would normally be provided by the school, paper and such and so forth, since we've been charged the fee?
Okay, thanks, Julie. So regarding course fees, we are in the process of reducing special course fees by 50% for all of the following courses for this semester only so far. So at this point, these are Drawing 1, Drawing 2, Design Fundamentals 1, Photography 1, Life Drawing, Painting 1, Painting 2, Painting 3, Advanced Drawing, Screen Printing, and Advanced Photography. And your instructors for these courses and other courses will be in touch with you with suggestions about where to purchase any art supplies at the lowest cost possible. I think another part of the question for a lot of art and design students is about software. And I think this may apply to some of the other programs as well in the College of Fine Art. Through Rebel apps, students can access some software, and up-to-date information about UNLV computer labs is also online. At this point, there are in-person UNLV computer lab hours planned for fall semester. UNLV also has a technology loan program, so students can contact academic advising to be put on a wait list for a laptop by sending an email to advising@unlv.edu. And we're doing a lot of creative things in the Department of Art. For example, in our graphic design capstone course, the course will still be listed as in person, but a lot of the course will be taught remotely. We're listing it as in person so that we have a computer lab reserved just for students enrolled in the course. And we will schedule work days based on student need, where the instructor will open up the room and be a monitor for students who do not have a computer or Adobe software.
Great, thank you so much. Our next question is for Dr. Addison. Will certain film courses, for example, Production 1, 2, and 3, and Advanced Directing, cease all forms of physical contact during their in-class exercises and activities?
The short answer is yes. Students won't be coming in physical contact, but we will still be doing productions. And at this moment, I would like to defer to Warren Cobb, Professor Warren Cobb, our Associate Chair and Director of Production Operations, who is here with us today. Warren.
So the answer or the question was about having contact with each other. You will not be touching each other, if that was your question. So we
That
still
was the question. Yeah.
Yes, you will not be touching anyone. So even if you have 6 foot long arms, you're still not going to be touching anyone. But yes, we are still filming. We are still doing productions.
Thank you.
We're not touching in dance either.
So the general rule of thumb for anyone who is asking is there will be no touching of anyone in the College of Fine Arts. Okay. I'm trying, you all have done such a great job of answering these questions.
Well, I was going to say, we're like no touching. And like when my kids were growing up, I'd have to say, and no throwing things at each other either.
Exactly. Okay. How will the process for auditions be handled? And I'm going to throw that out there for everyone who has auditions. So if you want to raise your hands, I can call on you so we're not all Sue Mueller.
All right. Well, I know that the band auditions, if you go to their website, and you can find that by going to our music school of music website under ensembles, and you'll find a website that they have designated for those auditions, which of course will be remotely done, as well as orchestra. And there is a link that is being sent out. If it's not up there already, I believe it's being sent to the students individually, and those will also be done remotely. So we just feel that's the only way to do our auditions. Choral auditions remotely, whether, and some people might wonder if they're still out of town, you know, how that's going to take place. And they will, of course, accept a video submission for their audition. We will be as flexible as possible.
Great. Louis, did you have an answer to that question as well?
Yeah, I do. They're going to keep auditions face to face, but probably with protocols. So there'll be protocols, particularly like if we're doing a ballet audition where there is a bar, there's going to have to be people at the bar. So it's going to be different. Yeah, what's funny is it reminds me of when I was in school in a way, because even students have auditions, and even the choreographic work they do is going to have to be different this semester. When I was in college, I took a painting class, and one of the things this painting instructor would do is from time to time he would say, okay, no one can use these colors. You know, there were certain colors that were not allowed to be on the canvas. So we had to mix our own or find a different way to get things across. So I think that's one of the things we're going to have to do now in this time is find a different palette of movement and even a different palette for auditioning. We've been thinking about things like how many people can we keep in the room at a specific time during an audition. So we might be doing auditions where there's a certain number of people and other people can be socially distanced in another studio, another space. So it's going to be a little bit improvisational. It's going to be a little nimble. It's going to be a little flexible, but we're going to find a way to do everything. So, and also an exciting way. I think we're going to learn at this time.
Thank you. This next question is for...
I'm sorry, Julie, can I jump in theater-wise?
Sure. Oh, yes,
Sorry.
absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand high enough, I guess. So NCT is the producing arm of the Department of Theater, for those of you who do not know. Our auditions, our season, first of all, our 5-show season has been abbreviated to 3 shows that will happen in the spring. We won't have any performances per se in the theaters in the fall. However, we will be having class projects that will be produced by Zoom and performed through Zoom. We'll also have podcasts happening. And so many of those auditions for those projects and the spring projects are happening in September. They will be virtual and they will be announced shortly on our website. The other thing to take note of is that by the time we get to spring, we'll be announcing the season for the following year, and we'll be able to share those audition information as well. But the class projects, there'll be many of those that will be televised or transmitted via Zoom, via other platforms as well. So that's it.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next question is for Marcus. What will the art department be doing to offer more online non-studio classes? There are many classes being held in person with as little as 4 students, many of which could be held online so that students who are trying to avoid in-person contact with others have more options. That's the student's question. I'm not verifying that there are 4 people classes.
That one caught me up, and I had to look up and figure out what we were talking about. I don't know which one that refers to, but I want to say that, we've done a lot of switching around of things as the cases have mounted in Southern Nevada and globally. We've changed a lot of plans. So each day that we wake up this summer, it's different. And so I know that for a lot of you, when you look at your schedule, it's not as it was when you signed up for those courses, and that can be quite stressful. And I want to underscore, as Dean Uscher said earlier, and Stacy Shapin said earlier, and all the chairs and directors were saying in one form or another, we're here for you. We can make adjustments. Please get in touch with any of us, and we'll work on a plan that works with you, that works for you. I don't want anyone to be on campus if you feel unsafe being on campus, or if it makes you really anxious to be on campus. We'll look at the options for you, and we'll make a plan. So if you're looking at your schedule and you're saying that's not how I want it to be, then please, let's make those changes. I think as well, embedded in that question, there were a lot of questions for Art about why we're having some classes in person. We'll be taking a lot of the same precautions that the other departments are taking as well. I think there are some aspects of what the faculty are teaching that they want to at least try in person. This could change as the fall goes on, but at this point, I made some notes about this. Let me just pull those. Up. Some faculty and students feel that instruction in art and design should include, if possible, some in-person analysis of physical artworks and observation of students working, printing, drawing from life, etc. In most of these cases, though, if the course is listed in person, students will be meeting in much smaller groups than usual, wearing masks, cleaning regularly, and practicing social distancing. There will still be a lot of remote instruction, even in in-person courses.
Thank you. Sue? Yeah,
understanding the types of courses is something that if something says remote, but then it says Monday through Thursday from 10 to 11:15, that means that course is going to meet from 10 to 11:15 virtually or remotely at that designated time. If the course is marked TBA and department arranged, that course is asynchronous. That means it's not bound to a specific time or day. And we've had to change just some of our courses in the last couple of days so that we can allow students to enroll for the courses that they want. Some of our courses conflicted with the same day and same time. So we went asynchronous with that course so that those students could enroll in it. And I just want to say one more thing, and Stacy will probably say yes. No. Even though ensembles aren't going to meet in person, please do sign up for the ensemble that is going to meet virtually, because it will help keep you on track of your degree. You don't want to get to the end of your degree and say, well, I didn't have that ensemble because of COVID. So make sure that you do go ahead. I've listened and seen, and I've met with each division on their plans for the ensembles, and they're great. We're exploring new devices that will reduce the lag time when playing together. So we're trying to find ways to produce the sound virtually in the best way possible. But I just wanted to explain about remote learning and if it says department arranged TBA and the ones that have the meeting time with remote. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And I know, Louis, you wanted to add something to this?
Yeah, if I could just say I know there have been some dance students that have been concerned that I have a remote class and then I have a face-to-face class and then I have another remote class. So, if you have problems for like where to do your remote classes, if it immediately follows a face-to-face class, we'll work with you about a space. There could be possibly a conference room or a space that you can be in. And I think also there are spaces at the university. That's been a big question that has come up for us, is how do I manage both the remote classes and then the face-to-face classes, particularly if my remote class is synchronous and the professor is doing it live.
I think, Stacy, do you want to address that briefly?
I'm sorry, I was managing questions. What do you want me to address?
About the spaces on campus that are going to be available for students who have synchronous remote courses followed by on-campus courses?
So according
Address that
to
briefly.
the town hall yesterday, the university is looking at opening up smart classrooms for students to use if you have a remote class scheduled immediately after an in-person class, so that you don't have to worry about traveling between places to get to a computer or whatever. They are going to be staffing those areas so that they are cleaned regularly. They will be monitoring the number of people that are allowed in at any given point in time, making sure that social distancing is being followed. And those things will be available, as well as the computer labs in the student union, the library, those places, so that those are available for students to use.
Thank you, Stacy. Okay, so our next questions. Will the College of Fine Arts libraries be open?
Thank you. I can answer that as well.
Okay.
Based on the information yesterday, the lead library will be open. However, the music library and the architecture library are not going to be open at this time. There are limited facilities available and limited hours at the lead library that may or may not expand into the other areas depending on how things progress with what happens during the semester. But as of now, those libraries are not going to be available at the beginning of the semester.
I'd like to add to that, if that's possible, because I was recently in lead, and I think that's accurate information. So thank you so much for that. If there's a particular question or a resource or a book that a person needs, there will be some availability especially by appointment. So the facilities will be closed, but the librarians will be available by appointment. And I think the way to do that would be to contact Stacy as our head of our advisement center, and her email will be in the chat, I imagine, or will be conveyed to you. And then I will work with Stacy to make sure that we have a system for how students can access those librarians for appointments or specific resources.
Great, thank you so much. Another question, and we can kind of put this out there to everyone. How do you see interdisciplinary interaction among students happening? For example, painting majors connecting with architecture majors, photography majors with art history majors, and so forth.
I'll start, but I think our chairs and directors are eloquent on this subject as well. I believe I speak for all of us in saying that we welcome this kind of thinking. We welcome integrating disciplines and thinking across boundaries. We find it exhilarating, and all of us here ourselves really have had some experience with doing experimentation and with doing arts projects and arts thinking that cross disciplinary boundaries. So there's also a challenge because you have very heavy loads of the courses that are required in your general education courses, but we want to encourage you to think this way, and let's talk about this more as the semester goes on. But we find it exhilarating and exciting that you're thinking this way, and we as a college really embrace this.
I'd like to jump in next, if I may. I think one of the exciting parts about being in a college of fine arts is that we're all creative types. We all look forward to challenges. And I would encourage, especially on the student end, I'm a graduate of the Rhode Island School of Design, so that interdisciplinary action is, a daily occurrence amongst many of the disciplines. I would encourage the students to take that challenge on themselves as well and start to work on ways to define how, the specific example Julie gave was how can painters and architecture students propose that to your professors. We've all probably been there, but it's challenging times that bring out sort of creative response. So I just wanted to also just to end that, one of the things I'm really excited about is this has given us the opportunity, all of the logistics that we've talked about so far, all of the challenges that we're prepared to meet in terms of filling some of our part-time instructor positions. This has given us the availability to go out and get really good talent nationwide to fill some spots that normally we may have had to, no disrespect to our local talent. We have great local talent, but we've been able to sort of expand that lens to see like, okay, so interior architecture is going to get a visiting professor from the Denver area. Hopefully, if we can get that finished soon, we're in talks with somebody now. Architecture is going to get a really good architect from Portland. We're looking at a couple of folks in New York City to teach our digital media class. So all of this sort of ideas that are going to come from other places is really exciting. And I'm also really excited in that sort of that vein of challenge. In the architectures, we are positioned, it's our job to design places for public use. So how are we going to go about designing places that encourage public use, but at the same time respect all of the things that we've learned recently with respect to social distancing, safety protocol, et cetera. It's an amazing time to be a designer. It's an awesome challenge. So I would just hope that all of us together can also embrace the opportunity to come up with new ideas.
That's great. Okay, and we'll hear from Louis and then Norma.
Yeah, so I just want to say that there's some really fantastic projects that have been bantered around and collaborative. Some of the chairs and directors, like myself, I said, if COVID was going to keep going into the fall semester, the next logical step is to be far more collaborative with each other, especially if we're going to be remote and we're going to have to do our disciplines differently, which we are. So I am so excited by some of the projects. I can't wait to tell people our first dance concert. We're not going to do we're going to do another filmed virtual concert, but we're proposing it in a really unusual space on campus where there's tons of room and where we can dance in places that we don't normally dance. Why dance on stage when there isn't going to be an audience? So I'm so excited about it. And I've also had other colleagues who have said, can I come talk to your class about this subject? And can we collaborate on some things with students? So any student who is out here listening to this, I would say collaboration is a goal of the college. It is a pillar of our college. And this is a time to collaborate. So talk to your instructors, talk to your chairs and directors. And we can do all kinds of things that we will look back at this time and say these are some of the most exciting events and projects that we've done.
Thank you, Louis. Norma, you wanted to weigh in on this as well?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to second what Louis is saying about sort of the innovation that we're thinking about and that we're talking about. And that we are already in conversations with our colleagues. Theaters hoping to partner with, we always do. I mean, we have a very strong relationship with dance and music. And last year, we brought in Drama Art. We're hoping to bring those folks back in at the beginning of this year and include more students from different departments. And the project is going to be interwoven with some of the work that we'll be doing in the fall. So we have lots of great opportunities happening, not only among the departments in CFA, but also in the community. We have wonderful, wonderful resources in the community, and they're excited about working with our students and facing the challenges that this sort of COVID situation has provided for us and surpassing them. So I think you're going to find that lots of opportunities are coming our way. But I also want to encourage you to follow what Danny is saying about being innovative yourself. So among us, among our departments, there are lots of student groups who normally just work within their own group. And I challenge people to work outside and to cross boundaries there as well.
Excellent. And I would be remiss if I did not give Dean Uscher a quick opportunity, a plug for Arts Worldwide. Speaking of collaboration.
Well, you know, I absolutely love what our leaders are saying about this being a catalyst, this time being a catalyst for deep creativity and innovation. So when we knew we were going to have to go into a kind of remote way of living and learning in March, we came together as a college, and I asked our dance head of the dance department, Louis Kavouras, if he would be so kind to represent the college in curating a series called UNLV Arts Worldwide that is aired live on the college YouTube channel almost every Monday evening at 6 p.m. There's an occasional breath for a couple of weeks here and there, but generally speaking, that is aired actually with titles like interdisciplinarity, and collaboration, the very concepts that we're talking about. And all of our chairs and directors have either been on already or will be on continuously. And in fact, on August 24th, we're going to have a roundtable, somewhat like this, of our chairs and directors talking about the exciting activities for the fall and introducing our new faculty members. So what we're doing, taped and then live, taped and live on our YouTube channel that then stays there from now on, really mirrors a lot of the concepts that we're talking about in this very town hall. I also wanted to say that I know that we'll want to have future town halls as well. This has just been, for me, an exhilarating opportunity to share how excited we are and what incredible people we have on our team. Everybody here at the town hall who wants so much to see student engagement, student success, student health, student celebration. We're all here for you. And it just gives us joy and a great feeling of warm spirit to welcome you to the fall. So we will have future town halls as well if we weren't able to cover everything that you hoped we would cover today. I personally do have another meeting coming up quite soon, so I'll probably have to leave soon, but maybe those of you who can stay would like to stay. I don't exactly know the protocol for the end of the town hall, but I just want to thank our students. We're here for you, and we're all here for you, and we cannot wait to be together and to meet you, whether it's virtually or on campus, and we're so happy that you're going to be part of our exciting semester. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean Uscher. This is actually the perfect place to wrap up. If any of you have questions and you didn't get them answered, please feel free to email me. As the Director of Student Success Initiatives, I can certainly find the answers for you. You can email me at julie.johnson@unlv.edu. Actually, if you can put that in the chat for me, that would be great. I want to thank all of our panelists today. You are awesome. Ashley Stone, Dr. Stone, for putting this together. Stacy Shapin, our Director of Advising, all of our chairs and panelists, you all are amazing. And we look forward to seeing you all virtually and some of you on campus. And hopefully soon we will all be back together on campus and we can engage in a great big group hug. In the meantime, thank you. Look for us soon and stay in touch with us. Email us and we'll see you virtually.